Dr. Flora Tydings was appointed Chancellor of the Tennessee Board of Regents by unanimous vote in December 2016, and she took on the role of Chancellor officially February 1, 2017. As Chancellor, she is Chief Executive Officer of the Board of Regents system, managing operations of the system office and providing strategic leadership for the system's institutions. Those institutions are the system of, I think, 27 TCATs, is that right? 27 TCATs, and our system of community colleges, including Motlow. Dr. Tydings earned her Doctor of Education degree in Occupational Studies at the University of Georgia, her Master's in Education at Mercer University, and Bachelor of Science in Education with emphasis in Behavioral Science at Georgia Southern University. A lot more could be said about Dr. Tydings' accomplishments and her vision for Tennessee and post-secondary education. But let's leave some time for Dr. Tydings. Come on up here, Chancellor of the Board of Regents. Come on.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here with you today to speak to you for a little bit about what Tennessee Board of Regents is changing and what we have happening. But first of all, I'd like to say my first business of duty when I get back to the office is I'd like to figure out how to move it here. The drive over today with the sun shining on the hills and being here in this beautiful weather could not have been more inspiring. And so I would love to be here in your community to have the office to come to every day. If you can help me make that happen, I'd appreciate it. I'd love to be here. McMinnville and Warren County are special, and not just for the reasons that you all know so well, because you do have more nurseries than anywhere else in the world, I understand, and I saw many of those as I was driving in today. The Cumberland Caverns, the scenic Collins River, but also because of the value you place on education. It goes without saying that the vision of your K-12 system says it all. The vision of Warren County will provide the knowledge, skills, training, and leadership to ensure that every student is career ready and college bound. And that's exactly what we are trying to do in partnership with our K-12 systems, is to make sure that every student is ready to go forward. You can't succeed in the world with just a K-12 degree anymore. You need to have post-secondary education to help you be successful in whatever venue that takes or whatever interest you find. I want to talk a little bit today, if I could, about what we are doing at the Tennessee Board of Regents to give you a good update, and to also talk a little bit about higher ed in the state itself. Let's see. There are several entities that coordinate higher education. University of Tennessee Board of Trustees, UT, with UT, Knoxville, Chattanooga, and Martin. We have the Tennessee Board of Regents, which is, was said earlier, the 13 community colleges and the 27 colleges of applied technology. Y'all forgive me just a second. All right, is that good? The locally governed institutions, which are now the 6 universities that prior to January 1st of this past year were part of the Tennessee Board of Regents. And while they do all 6 have their own locally governing boards now, the Tennessee Board of Regents does still have a fiduciary responsibility to these 6 universities. We still have to approve their budgets because there are bonds associated with projects that were in existence prior to the Focus Act. So we are still overseeing their budgets, and we do still have a responsibility for facilities to 4 out of the 6, with those other 4 looking to separate as soon as they have a facilities department to take that duty on. And then there is the Tennessee Independent Colleges and Universities, our private colleges and universities throughout the state that we call TACUA, and Tennessee Higher Education Commission. The role of the commission is they basically are supposed to wear the striped shirts and carry the whistles for all of the other higher education entities throughout the state. When there are disputes or there are decisions that need to be made, THEC is supposed to be the one that decides the ultimate decision point as to who will offer what in the state. So we do have to ask THEC for any new programs that we start or for any new colleges that we're going to build. It has to go through THEC for approval. So what is the challenge today in Tennessee? What is it that we're trying to accomplish with higher education? It's really not very complicated. That 15 of Tennessee's 95 counties right now have college going rates above the national average. Only 15 of the 95 have an average above the national average. The national rate is 66%. For Warren County, we're hovering right around the 50% line. So you can see that we have work to do. How are we looking to solve the problem? Well, the governor made a very bold statement in 2013 that every student that attended college in their first 2 years via Tennessee Promise, it was going to be free. Tennessee Promise is not just offering the students money. It's much more engaged than that. It involves mentorship, financial aid, and a success framework that's been put in place at all of our colleges. How many of you in the room currently serve as Tennessee mentors for Promise students? Thank you for that. We need you to help guide the students into the proper area. Going to college can be a daunting task for many. If you've never had anyone in your family attend college, if you don't have parents that know how to speak the language, you need somebody that you can rely on to simply ask, what is a FAFSA? What does that mean? How do I even apply to go to college? I talk about FAFSA, and how many of you in the room know FAFSA? Everybody? You've heard the word. You know it's a very complicated process. Thank goodness for Senator Lamar Alexander, who's trying to reduce this down to a postcard size for us. But right now, it's a daunting process. In 2014, 60.4% of the graduates in Tennessee filled out a FAFSA. A FAFSA form, research indicates that students that fill out a FAFSA form are much more likely to actually attend college if they fill this out while they're still in high school. So in 2014, we knew with only 60% of the students ever even filling out the form, we had a lot of work to do. By 2015, we'd raised that number to 69.5. By 2016, we were up to 70.3. And by 2017, we are now at 73.5% of all high school graduates filling out the FAFSA form, which means they are much more likely to attend college. Tennessee Promise changed the narrative across the country, actually. What you see here are excerpts from papers all across the country talking about the state of Tennessee. CNN, the New York Times, Politico, the PBS newsletter, all saying, what is Tennessee doing? How are they doing this? Free tuition. Everyone's going to go to college. TBR's mission, what do we do when we get the students? Well, it's real simple again. 2 statements, student success and workforce development. Every day when we go to work, we talk to the staff and we say, if it doesn't have something to do with this, we're not going to be engaged in it. If it doesn't have something to do with student success or workforce development, it's not our business and we're not going to be involved. We have strategic initiatives that are helping us do this. There are 5 of them. The first one is access. This past year, we had 118,000 students in our colleges. We awarded 21,855 credentials, and we have pioneered in research and high-impact practices across the state at a high quality. We have been resourceful and efficient over this last year with the lowest 3-year average tuition increase since 1977 this past year, and I'm very proud of that fact. And then we had partnerships and advocacy with over $51 million that we brought in last year in grants, including a Lumina Foundation grant to scale up our high-impact practices. And what have the results started to look like? Well, I've talked to you that Tennessee Promise was announced. It was implemented with the first class in 2015. That class had 13,287 students that entered our colleges in 2015, we are showing a 52.2% success rate for that group of students. Out of that 13,000 students, 52.2% of them have either graduated, transferred to a four-year institution, or are still with us about to graduate. The average success rate across the nation for a cohort that size is right around 17%. I'm extremely proud of 52.2%, and all of you in this room should be, because Tennessee has made that happen. There was a lot of talk in the beginning of Tennessee Promise that what was going to happen, the universities were concerned, there was talk among a lot of people in education that you were really just going to displace students, that the students that were going to go to college at the university were now just going to go to the community college because they could go for free. It wasn't really going to increase the number of students going to college. The reason I show you this chart is to show to you that's not what happened. The spike that you see in the red is showing the average ACT score for the group of students that came in Tennessee Promise. That average ACT score is 17, which means those students could not have been admitted into the universities. They would never have been accepted into the university. They were accepted into the community college, and remember back to the last slide, I just told you with even lower ACT score students, we had a higher success rate. So not only did we take more students in, but we took more students in that never would have gone to college before. That is a huge success factor. TBR credentials that have been awarded, it's difficult to see it, but what I want you to remember is that the gray bar is the bar that we set for ourselves for graduates on the drive, the goal to 55, meaning that we needed to reach that bar in order to reach our goal by 2025 of having 55% of the students graduating. We exceeded it every year, so in 2016 we decided we'd raise the bar, and we exceeded it again in 16 and 17. The governor announced in his State of the State address that if we continue on the trajectory that we are currently on, we will exceed our goal 2 years ahead of schedule. And so I'm very proud to say that we're not only going to meet the goal, but exceed it 2 years ahead of time. Now, why does that matter to you? Why do you care in this room about Drive to 55? What difference does it make to the state of Tennessee if we reach that goal? Well, I'm here to tell you that when we reach our goal, it will put $9.33 billion, that's with a B, back into the economy annually by students performing at the lowest level that we project on incomes for that. $9.33 billion annually speaks to me. I hope it does to you as well. That makes a difference in the economy of the state of Tennessee when we reach that goal, and we're well on the way. Tennessee Reconnect was announced by the governor last year in his State of the State address. Now this makes college tuition free for adults. So now we have it for students right out of high school. Reconnect will offer the same benefits to students that are considered adult students. We have been preparing for this. Fall term will be the first term that we have Reconnect students coming back into our colleges. The governor put a year in place for us to actually prepare and get ready for what we hope will be many more students coming into our colleges, and also for our faculty and our staff to work on strategies and skill sets on best ways to serve the adult student. Because as you know, adults are a little different. When we go back to school, we have families, we have jobs, we have other obligations. And so our campuses need to be ready to serve that adult student in a way that meets their individual needs. We've been working with all of the campuses. We have Reconnect teams on place on all 30 of our campuses, so that now we're looking at how we can be more proactive in the time frame that we offer courses. If students need to come at night, if they need to come on the weekends, then we need to have those classes available to them, and we need to know more about working with the adult student. again, we've got the teams that are out. We've been reaching out to adults, and this is difficult for you to see, but the line the green that is highlighted in the bar that goes over, what I wanted you to see there is these are the early applications for Tennessee Reconnect. That's Motlow State with the green that you see, and you can see that they are the third largest number in the state right now on the number of Tennessee Reconnect applications that we've had come in. The portal just opened for these applications in February, and so we're excited to see that number that has come through. So Motlow's going to have quite a challenge this next year to keep up with the number that we have coming in, but I know they're up for it. We've been doing a lot of restructuring and realigning at the central office and across the state with our colleges. The Focus Act did pull the 6 universities and colleges out of our picture somewhat, which has given us the ability to truly focus on what we needed to with the community and technical colleges. This is the old TBR org chart. Don't worry, I couldn't read it either. It was way too small, way too cumbersome, and didn't make a lot of sense. So, as with anything that you're trying to restructure, for me, the best way to do it is we dumped all the pieces out on the table, and we begin to put them back together with the picture that we want to make of student success and workforce development. We've streamlined our departments into 5 departments, starting with one for student success, one for external affairs, academic affairs, economic and community development, and our business and finance department. We can all read our org charts now. They're pretty simple. We know what our mission is, and we know which division we work in, and we know what our jobs are when we get to the office. The Economic and Community Development Division is a new division for the Tennessee Board of Regents, and we are doing this very closely aligned with the Department of Economic Development for the state of Tennessee. It is our job to make sure that we are helping the state attract new business, because anytime a business looks at the state of Tennessee, the number one question they're going to ask is, where's the workforce going to come from? If I can't find a qualified workforce, I'm not coming. Land is land, or as somebody's told me, dirt is dirt. Incentives are incentives. Most of the states in our nation have water. The big differentiation between our states is going to be our workforce. And that's how we're going to continue to attract new businesses. But we've got to be nimble, and we've got to be fast, and we've got to be focused when a company is looking at us. We have to be able to develop the programs that they need for training. We have to help ensure that we are training for a quality workforce and that the state is business friendly. Over the course of the last year, we conducted over 1,262,000 training hours in our career and technical division for business and industry. That impacted over 71,000 students. These are not students that were getting credit for us. These are students that we were training directly with business and industry so that they were either shoring up new skills or learning new skills that an industry needed their workforce to have. Tennessee Trained is a certification program that we've put in place with the Department of Economic Development. Commissioner Roth and I announced this at the Governor's Workforce Development meeting back in October. This is specifically designed for our employees, for the people that work within our system, for the people that work for the Department of Labor, and for the people that work for the Tennessee Economic Development Department. We started the course back in January with 80 individuals from across those 3 entities that I talked about, and the purpose of what they're doing is to learn about how we approach companies with one voice, so that we are all saying the same thing when a company comes in to work with. We immediately know how to show them the skill sets that we have available for training, and that we help ensure that everybody is saying the same message. And we have to make sure that there's quality in what we're doing, that none of this matters. It doesn't matter how many students we have come into our colleges if we're not providing quality at the same time that we're providing access. I'm happy to tell you that in last year's graduating class, in any program, technical college or community college technical program of study where a licensure was required, we have a 97% placement rate. That's for any national or state exam that a student must take in order to be employed, our system has a 97% pass rate. Again, the closest state to us is 77% pass rate. Our job placement rate is 87%. If you come to one of our community or technical colleges, we are placing you in your job for which we have trained you at 87%. I'm extremely proud of both of these two figures. So much so that the success rate that you're seeing at Motlow and McMinnville is very much a reflection of that. At Motlow State, where they served over 6,600 students this last year, the McMinnville Center, serving 1,200 per semester, including our dual enrollment and high school students are counted into this, is the fastest growing community college within our system. It's up 13% over last year. Highest freshman to sophomore retention rate in the system at 63%. And again, you heard that we were going to make this announcement, which has already been talked about in the paper, but very proud to let you know that beginning May 1st, Dr. Michael Torrance will become the new president of Motlow State. But I could not let this moment go without publicly thanking Dr. Hilda Tunstall for the work that she has been doing for us over the last 8 months. She has done an incredible job. Hilda stepped into a situation that was very difficult, that we had a lot of work to do. We had a lot of healing to do within the system, and she has done that at a marvelous rate. I'd also like to thank Fred Roscoe for his work on serving on our search committee and helping us select this new president who will be beginning on May 1st. And so, Fred, thank you for your efforts. It was an arduous process. We started with over 68 candidates that were qualified for the position. We had a committee of 18 that came from all of the service area, from business and industry, and from within the college to help make the selection. But I feel very good about Dr. Michael Torrance and know that he is going to lead Motlow State to great heights. Our Tennessee College of Applied Technology, and again, I'm so proud of what President Lux has been doing in that area. He does a tremendous job for us every day, serving 560 students per year, 10 existing programs. They are currently about to add culinary arts and hospitality, construction trades, HVAC, and cosmetology, and developing those seamless transfer programs for industrial maintenance and mechatronics from TCAT to Motlow and to MTSU. Again, our goal is to always make sure students never repeat anything that we have helped them accomplish when they transfer to the university or to any of our sister institutions. We stand behind what we do. We as a system believe in our students, we believe in our colleges, so much so that beginning in the fall term, we are going to warranty our graduates. If after their first year of graduation and they are employed, the employer comes to us and says this student does not have the skill sets for which you say you have trained them, we're going to take them back and retrain them for free. We believe that we can make that promise because of what happens every day at the Tennessee Board of Regents. We've been restructuring, we've been realigning, we've been shifting, but at the end of the day, it's to serve the state of Tennessee. These are our locations. We cover the state. We stand behind student success and workforce development. Thank y'all very much for allowing me to introduce you today.
You might have some questions.
Do I have any questions? I would be happy to try and answer them. Yes, sir.
What these are the new robotics center?
New Robotics Center, the bids have come in, they've opened them up, and we're looking forward to breaking ground and getting that up and running. The students are supposed to begin in 2021? 21 is our date of operation to have that up and running. So, huge operation, and we're really excited about that. Thank you for asking. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I would like to make the statement, it's not a question, but an endorsement. Tennessee Promise is one of the best things, the best investment that Tennessee has done in many years. It's very kin to the GI Bill, which after World War II enabled many men to rise from low-paying jobs to high-paying jobs, benefiting them and the community, and increase income tax.
Yes, sir. 9.33 billion. Remember that number. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here with you today.